Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Sarasvati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Paramananda Madhavam. So we invoke Bhagwan's grace and Puja Gurudev's blessings as we start chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. So before we proceed with chanting the first verse, I'll just give a very brief summary of what we have seen before. So we have started all the way from Mahabharata, right? And if we think about Bhagavad Gita, you know, she is a mother. She's not a book. So we call her Amba. She's a mother. And this mother has a body, right? Like a mother has a body, Bhagavad Gita has a body. Her feet is chapter 1 and 2, because that gives the whole ground for Bhagavad Gita. Why did the Bhagavad Gita happen? How did it happen? It all starts in chapter 1. And chapter 2 gives us the foundation for what exactly is going to come in all the chapters. Chapter 2 tells us the knowledge of the self. That's how Sri Krishna opens. Ashochan anvashochastvam. You should not grieve over those who are not worth grieving for. So 1 and 2 forms the foundation of Bhagavad Gita. That's the feet of the mother. Then slowly she starts to walk. Chapter 3 and 4 are her legs, because chapter 3 is Karma Yoga. So she's telling us, now go out and act, go out and do. You know you are the self, but Arjuna, you cannot sit quietly yet. You don't have that mindset yet. So go out and do. Go out and perform your dharma. But even when you're doing so, as it's put in chapter 4, know that you are the actionless self. So inside there is inaction. Outside there is action. You are the akarta atma. And then chapter 5 and 6, we come to the hips of the mother. Because slowly Sri Krishna is saying, at some point, Arjuna, one will have to take karma sannyasa. Means also let go of that physical action to withdraw a little bit more inside. And so when we let go of physical action, then what do? We sit in meditation as per chapter 6. So chapter 6, hips, because we're sitting down. This is the base. Now our hips are the base. And we're contemplating on that self. Then we come to the mother's stomach. What is the mother's stomach? Chapter 7 and 8. Because Sri Krishna asked us to sit, but what is the nature of Bhagwan? I'm not sure I understand yet. Who is this Bhagwan? So in chapter 7, we saw his bhuti and vibhuti. We saw his essence and his glories. And we saw the different types of bhaktas. We saw what bhakti is, who Bhagwan is. And in chapter 8 also, we saw how to reach Bhagwan through Upasana. So our hunger for love, for devotion has been satisfied in chapter 7 and 8. So what happens in chapter 9? Chapter 9 is the heart of Gita. It's the heart of the mother. Now we come to actually touch her heart. So if we want to know what is directly in Bhagavad Gita, we have come to that chapter. We are now touching her heart. And that heart is going to open full of love. And as we go to chapters 10, 11, 12, the heart will just keep expanding and expanding even more. Okay? So this is where we are with the Bhagavad Gita. We are now in chapter 9, and this is also amidst the line of bhakti, but also with a lot of jnana, with a lot of knowledge. And that's why this chapter is called Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. Raja means royal. So royal knowledge, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya, royal secret. So we will now begin the chanting of this chapter. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Atha Navamodhyayaha.
अथ नवमोऽध्यायः
Rajavidya Rajaguhya
राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगः
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Idam tu te guhyatamam
इदं तु ते गुह्यतमम्
Pravakshyamyanusuyave
प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे
Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam
ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं
Yajñatva Mokshase Shubhat.
यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्.
We'll chat together. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Idam tu te guhyatamam Pravakshamyanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajñatva Mokshase Shubhat. Okay, so what is Sri Krishna now saying here? He says, Idam, this, tu. But this, guhyatamam, is the greatest secret. Pravakshyami, and I shall now declare. Anasuyave, to one who does not see fault. Jnanam vijnana sahitam. Jnanam, that knowledge. Vijnana sahitam, with realization. Yajñatva. Yajñatva means on knowing this, mokshase, one will be free from ashubhat. Ashubhat means from that which is inauspicious. So to thee who does not cavil, I shall now declare the greatest secret, the most profound knowledge combined with experience or realization, which having known you shall be free from the sorrows of life. So let us see now each word. Shri Krishna says, Idam tu. Now, Arjuna, but this is different. This in the 9th chapter is different. How is it different? In the 8th chapter, Arjuna, I was telling you about Upasana. I was telling you about these contemplative exercises of how to get krama mukti. Krama mukti, gradual liberation. So those people who who are not or do not want direct liberation, there's a path of gradual liberation whereby they contemplate on you, they contemplate on the form of Bhagavan, they keep their minds there. And when their body dies, then they go to either Shukla Gati or Krishna Gati. Shukla Gati, the bright path, if they've done lots of upasana with karma, and the dark path if they've only done karma. And so gradually, a jiva can attain you through the bright path. Because if they go to the bright path, the Shukla Gati, then there's chance that they can gain knowledge there in Brahmaloka. But if they go to the dark path, the Krishna Gati, they will have to come back again in this life and go through it again. And so I'm not talking about all of that in this chapter. This chapter 9 is different. It's going to be about direct liberation. It's going to be about enlightenment here and now. So this is different. This time it's different. And what am I going to describe in this chapter? He says, to you, I'm going to describe guhyatamam, that which is very, very secretive, the most secretive thing that there is. But why is it so secretive? See, usually when there is a secret, it means that we are different inside and outside we are different. We are hiding something inside and we are playing to be or portraying to be something outside. For example, there is a couple who is pregnant, but they don't want to tell anybody. So inside there's a secret. Inside they both know, they're looking at each other. They know what the secret is. But outside they pretend to be normal, like everything's okay, like nothing's happening. So inside they're different and outside they show something else. Or when people are very, very wealthy. The wealthy ones are not the ones who demonstrate that they have a lot of money. The wealthy ones, outside they buy an ordinary car. They live in an ordinary house. They wear ordinary clothes. But inside they have lots of money hidden somewhere here and there. So inside they're hiding something and outside they portray themselves to be something else. So I think there's a board here. Okay. Right. So the same way, this secret is by Raja. This is by the royals, meaning the royal kings and queens. They knew the secret. This was not only the secret of sannyasis or brahmacharis. Actually, kings and queens, they knew this knowledge inside. And that's why outside, they were so great with their vyavahara, with their transactional life. So if you look at King Janaka, inside he knew this knowledge and therefore, but he didn't, he wasn't boasting about it or anything like that. Inside he knew this knowledge and outside he was very calm and poised when he ruled his kingdom. Queen Chudalaka in Yoga Vasishta, inside she knew this knowledge and outside she ruled the kingdom. So in this way, this was a secret by the royals. And Uttamam, it was a very deep, deep secret. It was also a secret because you had to tune into it. It was not so easily recognizable. When they have secret codes or they have a secret kind of writing that somebody has to break. This knowledge is like that it is something that we have to really look deeply into to break it, to uncover it. Otherwise, if we're not tuned into it, then we won't be able to get it. And that's why he says, Pravakshyami. To break this code, to understand what is hidden in the messages of the Upanishads and of the Bhagavad Gita, we need a teacher. So he says, I declare to you, this is not a territory where we can explore on our own, nor which we should explore on our own. Because the way to explore, we don't know how. What's happening to knowledge nowadays is that people are taking the part for the whole. So they don't know the whole story. They'll capture a 2-minute clip and they'll highlight that. And based on the 2-minute clip, everybody will give their criticisms. Everybody will say, this is good, this is not good, this is how the person is, this is how the person is not. In the 2-minute clip, which is removed from a whole story, there's thousands of people judging based on that and making decisions based on that. And this is how people are gaining knowledge. This is what we call news. So like that, there are some people who take the Bhagavad Gita and they'll put one quote out. This is in chapter 3 of the verse of the Bhagavad Gita, and this is what the Bhagavad Gita says, and this is what it's about. Now that's very dangerous. When we take the part to be the whole, or when we take the part without seeing what is the whole, there's a disconnect. We don't understand the background, we don't understand the history, we don't understand the vision, we don't understand any of it. But when we sit by the Guru, in this case, we are sitting at the feet of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is telling us step by step. When we sit by the Guru breaks it down and tells us exactly what the vision is. So Sri Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you learn this from me. I am the Guru. I will tell you because I have the vision of the entire Shastra. I know it. And Sri Krishna is saying, not only do I know it, but I am living it. We see Sri Krishna is living it. Now the question is, why tell Arjuna? What's so special about Arjuna? He says, Anasuyave. Arjuna, you are Anasuyu. Anasuyu means the one who does not have this ability to fault find. You know, there are some people who all they do is they fault find with anything and anyone, and no matter even how good the person is. They meet a person who's so nice, who's wonderful, who's caring. Oh, but they're too soft-spoken. They don't know what they're doing. You know, why are they like that? They go to a place that's beautiful, full of nature, so green, so lovely, fresh air. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. We can't really stay here. I don't want to be here. They see this winter weather full of lovely white snow falling on the streets. Oh, it's making me shiver. I don't like this cold. So there are always people who their profession, their job, their their work is to fault find. And you put them anywhere, they're so good at it. They're so good at it that even in Bhagwan, they fault find. In Bhagavan Rama, they will find a fault. In Bhagavan Krishna, they will find a fault. In the Bhagavad Gita, they will find a fault. You put them anywhere and they're professional fault finders. Now, this person who is a fault finder can never be a great student. Never. They're disqualified. Because with this knowledge, and we will see, we need a lot of Shraddha or faith. It is such a deep knowledge that at the time of Shravanam, our only dharma is just absorb. Just absorb it. If we have some doubts, if we have some questions, we should write them down and inquire into it respectfully. That's fine. But at that time, we should stop fault finding. Stop that. And also in our relationships, whenever we start from fault finding, they always fail. It's not that we should not pay attention to misgivings of others, but first we should always see what is good. What is good? What is beautiful? What is wonderful? What can we take? And focus on that. Yes, there are shortcomings in places, in things, in people. Yes, there are. But focus on that which is wonderful. So Arjuna has this ability, not to be a fault finder. He is a fortune finder. Everywhere he goes, he finds something beautiful. And these kinds of people are very happy in life. And Arjuna, what am I going to tell you? Jnanam vijnana sahitam. I'm going to tell you jnanam. Jnanam, knowledge. Vijnanam, realization. And these two words, they'll be expounded upon. So when we will see in the next few verses how he brings about knowledge and realization. And he says, yajñatva, on knowing this, then moksha se ashubhat, on knowing, not on doing. This is also important. In Vyavahara, in our transactional life, we need these two things. We need to know and we need to do. And that's just the way life works. If I want to know what's in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, I'm going to have to walk to my computer, type up the Zoom code, open it and start the program so I can know what's in chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. If somebody brings me a fruit, and I don't know what kind of fruit it is. I've never seen something like that before. It's orange, but it looks like a tomato. What is it? And I need to walk towards it, and I need to look at it, grasp it, and it's a persimmon. I go see it. Oh, okay, that's what it is. But in the realm of Atma, where is the distance and where is the time? We don't have to open a computer. We don't have to walk towards it. We don't have to grasp it with our hands. So we don't need to do. This is a path of just knowing. Just knowing, because there's no distance between you and yourself. There's no time between you and yourself. And actually, there's no other object but the self. So because there is no distance, because there is no time, it's not that I have to gain it in the future or something like that. It's not that I have to go anywhere. Then action is ruled out. This is something that is to be known. And when we know it, we have freedom from ashubha. Ashubha means ignorance. We have freedom from this thing called ignorance of our true nature. And this ignorance is what keeps us in bondage. As long as we identify with the BMI, the body, mind, intellect, with the ego, as long as we identify with that, we are ever in bondage, moved by the identification with the limited things. So this is how Bhagavan Krishna introduces the chapter. And in this first verse, we find the Anubandha Chatushtaya. Anubandha Chatushtaya means the fourfold factors which give us the purpose for studying any shastra. So here, what is the adhikari or student? Somebody who's anasuyu, somebody who's not a fault finder, who's a fortune finder. So that's the student. Number 2, what is the vishaya? The vishaya or the subject matter? Jnanam and vijnanam, knowledge and realization. Number 3, what is the goal? Prayojana, moksha se ashubhat, to be free from ignorance. And number 4, what is the sambandha? Meaning, so if my goal is to be free from moksha, why should I study this? Because yajñatva, on knowing this, then we will be free. So this is the introduction of Sri Krishna. Now Arjuna it feels like, okay, now tell me more about this knowledge. I want to know, describe what kind of knowledge this is, because I am ever so curious. So next verse, which is a very beautiful verse also. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
राजविद्या राजगुह्यम्
Pavitram Idamuttamam
पवित्रम् इदमुत्तमम्
Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam
प्रत्यक्ष प्रत्यक्षावगमम् धर्म्यम्
Susukham Kartum Avyayam
सुसुखम् कर्तुमव्ययम्
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. So here, to generate some enthusiasm. So Sri Krishna also knew marketing. Huh? He knew how to make a pitch. So he's making a pitch to Arjuna and saying, Arjuna, guess what about this knowledge? Look at how beautiful this knowledge is. It is Raja Vidya. It is the king of knowledges. Raja Guhyam. It is a royal secret. Pavitram. It is a purifier. Not only a purifier, idamuttamam, supreme purifier. Pratyaksha avagamam. It is realizable by direct knowledge. Dharmyam is according to dharma. And susukham kartum. It is very easy to perform. Avyayam. It is imperishable. Royal science, royal secret, the supreme purifier is this, realizable by direct intuitional knowledge, according to the dharma, very easy to perform, and imperishable. So here he says, look, this is the royal knowledge. So in the first verse I had told you, this is what the royals knew. Kings, queens, they knew this knowledge. But in another way, we also see this as a royal knowledge. Why? Because this is the deepest knowledge that anybody can ever have. Now see here, in the Upanishads, it tells us that there are two kinds of knowledges. One is called Paravidya and one is called Aparavidya. Paravidya means supreme knowledge. Aparavidya means lower knowledge. What is lower knowledge? Every other knowledge. So you name it, Math, science, history, information technology, all kinds of grammar, astrology, astronomy, everything, AI, all the things that we think we know, everything that people are getting master's degree and PhD for, all of those things, they are all called aparavidya, lower knowledge. In Chandogya Upanishad, Narad Ji goes to Sanat Kumaradi and he says, I want to learn knowledge. I want to learn the highest knowledge. And they ask him, what do you know? He says, I know Rig Veda. Not even math science. I know Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. I know astronomy, astrology. I know science. I know music. I know technology. I know everything. And what do they tell him? You know nothing. Because as long as we don't know who we are, then what does it matter? What does it matter? What PhD, masters, what experience I have? What does it matter? If I don't know who I am, then I know nothing. And that's why the greatest scientists, when you look at their work, they all say that the more I know nothing. Isn't it? You read their work. Because they realize that. I'm missing me. Oh, why is it important to know the self? Because knowledge of the self will free us from suffering. The point of knowledge is it has to free you from suffering. If that knowledge is not freeing us from suffering, what's the point of that knowledge? What's the point of it? There was this one there was this one Babuji, this one man, and he was a scholar, very learned person. And everybody knew him, that he knows all kinds of science, education, math, everything he knows. So once he said, I want to just, go on a boat ride. I want to relax. So he sat on the boat, and he has the habit that with everybody he's with, he wants to converse because he wants to prove his knowledge, wants to prove his superiority. He can't help it. So he sat, and the boatman was rowing calmly, very calm. The boatman was rowing. So he asked the boatman, so what is your field of knowledge? What do you know? The boatman said, I just know boating. This is what I do. He said, do you know any astrology? You should know. Astrology, astronomy, you're here. You see the stars. The boatman said, no, I don't know anything. He said, you should know engineering. You know engineering? You're riding a boat. You know how to build a boat? No, I don't know engineering. He said, do you know farming, cooking? Do you know any of that? I mean, you're out, you're there, maybe you're fishing. He said, no, I don't know. I just know rowing. I don't know all of that. And so this man said, this useless to talk to this boatman. He doesn't know anything. I don't want to waste my time. I'm too precious for this boatman. The boatman also, they didn't bother. He's least concerned. Then what happened? A huge storm broke out, and the boat was shaking. The boat was shaking, and there was a hole in the boat. So boatman said, you know how to swim? He said, no, I don't know how to swim. He said, then you'll go drown. I'm going and I will go swim. You drown and let all your knowledge also drown. I will go and swim. And the boatman left. Now, you see, okay, what is the point? He said, if you don't know how to swim, what is the point of all your knowledge? Right? So if we don't know how to free ourselves from suffering, what is the point of all our knowledge? You can take it and throw it out. It doesn't mean anything. Here, what we are looking for is something wonderful. That is Raja Vidya, the knowledge that sets you free. And as we saw also, this is Raja Guhyam. It is a secret. We saw earlier that the royal kings and queens, they kept it inside, and outside they did their vyavahara. But there's another reason why it's a secret. It's a secret because it's right there and we don't see it. A beautiful example is given in Viveka Chudamani, that somebody had inherited gold, and his parents told him, we have left gold for you and it's yours. But before they could tell him where the gold was, they passed away. So he's thinking, I have gold, but I don't know where it is. And he spent so many years of his life searching for that gold. And one day he was just walking back and forth his home. And the wooden floor, sometimes it breaks a little bit. It broke and he saw something in there. And what was there? The gold. So the whole time he's walking over the gold. He didn't know it was right there. So it is such a secret that it is us. And sometimes we fail to tune into it. It's a secret because we can't recognize it. Our minds have become so gross, so distracted, so disoriented that we cannot recognize ourselves. So it's a secret. And so if this knowledge will set me free, this knowledge is a secret. How does it set me free? Here it says, Pavitram idam uttamam. It is a supreme purifier. It sets me free because it frees me from all my karma. I'm going to read a portion from the Bhashya of Adi Shankaracharya ji, and I'll explain to you. He says something very beautiful. He says, Aneka janma sahasra sanchitam api dharma dharmadi sammulam karma क्षणमात्राद् भस्मीकरोति यतः अतः किं तस्य पावनत्वं वक्तव्यम्. Oh, so beautiful. He says, imagine all of the karma that we have accumulated. All of it. Our sanchita, even our prarabdha, even our agami, what karma is to come. From the root, in a moment, all of that karma is put to ash. It's put to ash by this knowledge. And so, what can we say about how purifying it is? It's put to ash because if you remember from chapter 4, that karma belongs to a karta or a doer. Any action belongs to a doer. And when we realize who we are, we know that we are the non-doer. I am the non-doer. I am akarta atma. I am abhokta atma. I'm the non-doer. I'm the non-enjoyer. Because doership lies in the ego. Enjoyership lies in the ego. And therefore, who does karma belong to? It belongs to the ego. But who are you? Atma. You are that which is even free from that ego. So this knowledge is so purifying that in a moment, kshanamatra means in that moment of realization, the entire karma is burned to ash. And that's why they put the 3 lines of Vibhuti. Sanchita, Agami, Prarabdha. Burned to ash. Burned to ash because I am beyond that. So it is pavitram. And he says it is pratyaksha avagamam. Means it is you. It is directly you. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to go seeking for it. You don't even have to move. You don't even have to blink. It's you. It directly is you. And through direct knowledge, you will recognize it. So, avagamam, it is because it is directly you. It is recognizable through direct knowledge. It just has to be uncovered. That's all. Uncovered amidst all of these sheets. It's as though hidden by 5 sheets, as though hidden in 3 bodies, as though hidden in 3 states. Just uncover it and it will be directly available to us because it's very direct. It's you. There's nothing so direct as I am. Nothing more direct than that. And what's so beautiful about this knowledge, so it is a great purifier, it sets us free, removes our sorrow. Dharmyam, it is according to dharma. Means this knowledge is one of integration. If you look at different types of knowledge, sometimes they disintegrate, sometimes they divide people. They can create animosity, greed, hatred. They can do all of that. But this knowledge, when you know it truly, it only integrates. Because how? The self in me is the self in all. Now, if I live my life just based on this, think, will I want to cause harm to anyone? Will I want to be rude? Will I want to be unreasonable? Harsh? No, because I'm seeing the self in me is a self in you. And not only in you, but the self is also in non-living things. So even in this computer, even in this book, even in this mat, how would I treat it knowing that the self is also there? That kind of person who recognizes this knowledge, realizes it, their vyavahara or transactional life will be very dharmic. Very dharmic because all they see is oneness. All they see is oneness. Not only that, but because they understand that I am not the body, mind, intellect, they can be removed and handle things objectively. For example, if the body is going through pain, those who are heavily identified and attached to the body will say, my body is in so much pain, it's so much pain, I don't know what to do. Very, very subjective with the body, means very attached. But when we draw ourselves back and understand the body is a tool, I'm not the body, it's a tool. Right now it's going through pain. What is the best way I can handle it? There's a sense of objectivity. And one does that. One does whatever one has to do in the transactional level. The mind, if somebody's going through things in the mind, I'm having a breakdown, I'm in so much pain, I don't know what to do, I'm so upset. These are for people who are very attached and identified with the mind. But on this knowledge, there's a way to draw yourself back. Okay, the mind is going through these things. I am not the mind. It's going through these things. What can I do? How can I objectively handle the situation right now? So it brings such a dharmic way to also detach ourselves from this body, mind, intellect, and ego. So the one who has this knowledge lives the life of dharma. Dharmya. This must be too hard. It looks like it's too hard. It's too good to be true. It's too hard to attain, some people might feel. So Sri Krishna says, Susukham kartum. It's easy. It's easy. It's effortless because it's you. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be single. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be old. You don't have to be young. You don't have to have a career or education. You just simply have to tune with it. That's all. It's that easy. So there's no outside prerequisites. You don't have to be of a certain stature, social status and this and that. No. The susukam means it's just really this much. It's just that we have to tune into it. Now, the tuning happens when we are at the feet of Guru and Shastra. That's all. Now, some people might say, because it's so easily attainable, as you're saying, maybe the result is also very easy. It's very short term. When something is easily attainable, when you can buy something easy or buy something for $2, right? It's going to last for 2 days. It's not going to last that long, right? You buy, let's say, $5 pair of sunglasses in Chinatown, New York City. You know that you're going to use it once or twice and then that's it. It's not going to work. If you buy an umbrella on a rainy day, it's going to cost you $2, but you can use that umbrella 3 times. That's it. So because it's so easily attained, maybe it will disappear, this knowledge. Maybe it will go away. So Sri Krishna says, avyaya. It's imperishable. Once you know, that's it. It will never go. If it goes, it's not knowledge. It's just a flash of understanding. Knowledge never leaves. It never goes. It becomes part and parcel of your entire being because you recognize you are that knowledge. This knowledge, after all, is of Akshara Brahma, the imperishable Brahman. So where will it go? So therefore, Sri Krishna is trying to say, have faith in this knowledge, have reverence in this knowledge, have love for this knowledge. But what happens is, some people, they don't have faith. And so Sri Krishna says, look, if somebody doubts, then it's going to be very, very difficult. For those who doubt this path, is tough. And this is what we find in verse number 3. Ashraddhadhanaः purushaः
अश्रद्धदानः पुरुषाः
dharmasyasya parantapa
धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप
aprapya mam nivartante
अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते
mrityu samsara vartmani.
मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि
अश्रद्धधानाः पुरुषाः धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि. So, Shri Krishna says, Ashraddhadhanaha means those who are without shraddha, without faith. Purushaha, all those people without faith. Faith on what? Dharmasya asya, of this dharma. Dharma here means of Atma. It's dharma in this context you understand as our essential nature. Dharma can also mean nature. So people who don't have faith in this self or in the knowledge of this self. And he calls Arjuna Parantapa. O Parantapa, what happens? Aprapya mam, without attaining me, aprapya mam, nivartante, they return. Where do they return? Vartmani, they return in this vartma, in this path. And what is this path? Mrityu samsara. This path is a path of death. So persons without faith in this dharma, O Parantapa, without attaining me, return to the path of rebirth, fraught with death. So what happens? See, first, this Shraddha is one of the most important qualities of a seeker. Now, understandably, we will have doubts about knowledge. Understandably, when we are seeking in the path, when we are studying the Bhagavad Gita, we have doubts. But there's a way to address those doubts. And what we do is pujita vichara, meaning listen, understand, make a note of those doubts, and then later, with respect, with reverence to the scriptures, we inquire, we ask, but with the faith that the scriptures mean well. They are there for my benefit. Bhagwan means well. Bhagwan is there for my benefit. And so what is said must be true, but I need to understand how could it be true? Or in what way is it true? Where am I falling short? This is called Pujita Vichara, wherein we have that love and reverence for scriptures, for Guru, and we say, maybe I'm falling short somewhere. Let me try to understand what is the proper answer, and let me be open to it. This is absolutely fine, and we should have this, because that shows that we are actually thinking. We're thinking about it, so questions will come up. But when we say somebody without faith means somebody who thinks that they are right and this all is wrong and I have no faith in it. I just don't have faith. Somebody who's not willing to accept anything, that the Shastras could be right, the Guru could be right, someone who's not even willing to test out the waters. I don't even want to test the waters. I don't even want to look at it. I don't want to read it. I don't have faith. This is what we call as ashraddhadhana. Somebody who has no faith and is not even willing to work on that faith. The one without faith has a very tough life. Tough life. We saw also in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. See, the one who has no faith will have a very difficult transactional life. Why? Imagine a student, a teacher in kindergarten is telling them that this is how you write letter A. Imagine if the student will say, why is that how you write A? is how do I know it's true? Where's the source that that's how you write letter A? Imagine you had a child like that. The teacher said that's how you write letter A. That's, you have to have some faith in the teacher. Imagine if the child, the parent said, I'm your mother, this is your father. How do I know that's my father? How do I know? What is the proof? Is he's going to go to a scientist, a researcher, the doctor to find proof that that's your mother or father, right? So a person who has no faith is going to have such trouble in transactional life and is going to be jittery everywhere. You get on a plane, no faith in the pilot. You literally can't live your life, right? I'm buying something, I have no faith that's going to work. It's going to be a very, very sad life. And the one who has no faith also will not put forth effort. Because only when we have faith in a person, we have faith in a relationship, we put forth full effort. If I have faith in the scripture, I will put forth full effort to study it. If I have no faith, no effort. I'm not going to do anything about it. So the one who has no faith will have a tough time, transactional life, will have a tough time putting forth effort. And the one who has no faith will not be able to walk this path at all. At all. And that faith is in the goal. Yes, we might not understand that there is this, we might not understand Brahman. We know that there is some Brahman, some truth we are seeking. We know that there is some truth, but we might have some doubts here and there. We don't know how to recognize it, how to uncover it. That's okay, but walk with it. Walk with Guru, walk with Shastra until that faith becomes a fact. Walk until the faith becomes a fact. And that is what our scriptures tell us. Our scriptures never say have blind belief. Just blindly believe everything we say. Just take it and say yes and accept everything. No. Our scriptures say walk with faith. Walk with reverential inquiry. Ask questions. Clarify your doubts. And walk until faith becomes a fact. And you will win. But for the one who's walking without faith, aprapya mam, Bhagavan says, he doesn't even gain me. He doesn't attain me. And he comes back into this world of mrityu, world of death. What do you mean world of death? World of death means this world is in constant flux. It's always changing. And every single change is a death. Now, when the seed dies, it becomes a sprout. When the sprout dies, it becomes a stem. When the stem dies, it becomes a leaf, flower, etc. So every single thing is changing, 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 changing. And how long can we move about in these changing situations? At some point in time, we long for the changeless. Changing, again birth, again death, again birth, again death. How long are we going to go into this samsara chakra? So if we want to break free from it, Shri Krishna says, develop this beautiful quality called Shraddha. So we say, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. The one who has faith, that person will gain this knowledge and not otherwise. So now what is now? Lord Krishna had such a beautiful build-up. Now what is his knowledge that he's going to reveal? That we're going to see next week. Okay? So now I'll just spend a few minutes just summarizing what we did so far, just so we have the whole picture of the first 3 verses. So we have entered into chapter 9, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya, Yoga, right? The chapter which is of the royal knowledge and the royal secret. This is the heart of Bhagavad Gita, literally, because this is where Shri Krishna opens up. Mother Gita opens up. And he says, Shri Krishna says, I am going to tell this knowledge to you because you need a guru, Arjuna. You need a guru like Shri Krishna, and you are anasuya. You are one that is free from fault finding. You're a fortune finder. You're not a fault finder. And what am I going to tell you? I'm going to tell you this knowledge and realization. Why? So that you can be free of ignorance. What is this knowledge? Why should I know it? Why is it so beautiful? Because it is that knowledge of who I am. And that knowledge will free me from all sorrow. It will free me from this biggest cause of sorrow, which is the ego. And it is so secretive. It is me, but I'm unable to uncover it. And I'm unable to tune into it. It's such a secret because sometimes it's so subtle. It's so subtle, and sometimes there's so many different notions about it that I can't grasp it. But it is the greatest purifier, because on knowing it, all my karmas are burnt. All that doership, enjoyership is burnt. The ego is dissolved. Then the ego is the biggest dirt. Biggest dirt we have is the ego. And he says it is direct. It is you. It is so direct. It is you. And it can be directly realized. And when we know this knowledge, it integrates our whole entire life. Because the vision of this knowledge is oneness with everybody in everything. It is only creating harmony and dharma. And it is actually effortless. Because the only effort is tuning in, as we saw. All the sadhanas, all the spiritual practices are for us to tune in. That's all. That's it. And what is the result of this? Will it go? No, it's imperishable. Once you know, you know. The one who knows, Brahma janati, Brahmaiva bhavati. The one who knows is Brahman themselves. Therefore, have love and reverence for this knowledge. What happens if we don't have love and reverence? What happens if we have a lack of faith? If we don't want to trust anybody and trust this knowledge, then we will break down and we will lose a chance of the most beautiful knowledge, the most purifying knowledge that we have ever heard of in our whole lives. We will miss that, and we will come back, again birth, again death. So Sri Krishna says, hold on, have faith, and slowly I'll reveal it to you, that royal secret. Okay, so we stop here, say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.